Hello again everybody, and welcome back. This is the sixth and final video in our six-part video series taking a look at character recognition and license plate recognition in OpenCV 3. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. In this video we're going to perform license plate recognition in Visual Basic. So if we go to GitHub, microcontrollers and more, and then take out the spaces, and then we're going to go here and then repositories. And there are some prerequisites that I should mention first. So if we go here, OpenCV 3 Windows 10 installation tutorial, and then if you follow this link up to this playlist here, definitely I would suggest viewing this video if you have not already. OpenCV 3 Windows 10 installation tutorial, part 3, VisualBasic.net and C# with Emgu CV. And once you've covered that, you'll definitely also want to take a look at the third video in this six-part series, which, here's the project for that, OpenCV 3 KNN Character Recognition, Emgu CV 3 Visual Basic. And in that video, we performed character recognition with Visual Basic. And then continuing on, the project we're going to implement in this video is OpenCV 3 License Plate Recognition, Emgu CV 3 Visual Basic. Before we get into that, I should mention the video for this project here, OpenCV 3 License Plate Recognition in C++, which is part 4 in this series. I went over this document here, Steps with Images, where we essentially sort of covered the algorithmic steps that we're going to follow as we perform license plate recognition. And to save some time in this video, I don't think it's really necessary to repeat those steps again, so please see part 4 of this series, the C++ license plate recognition program, if you're interested in some of the algorithmic steps behind what we're performing today. But to go ahead with today's video, we're going to go to OpenCV 3 license plate recognition, Emgu CV 3 Visual Basic. And here's our repository. So in Docs and Presentation, we will find Steps with Images. So this is a Visual Basic version of that same Steps with Images document. So as you can see, we go through the same steps here, and then at the end, this is the Visual Basic version of the final program running with the 13 plates, possible plates found, and of course McLaren F1 being the actual plate. And then we also have form design. And this is the form design document that we're going to be following today. This is the form we're going to make. It's pretty basic. And then we have steps as well. And this is essentially just sort of a written out chart of some of the data structures and functions that we're going to call. So if you'd like to look through the code later on and sort of follow the steps in sequence, this chart may be very helpful to you. But for the moment, we're going to work from the form design document. I'm going to press Control-N to open up another window. So if we go back to here, and then we have these files here. Well, actually, first let's take a look at license plate images. This is the 16 license plate images. It's the same 16 images as in the two previous projects. It's various license plate and scenes. And then if we go back to here, we'll find our 6 Visual Basic files that we're going to use in the project today. Detect characters, detect plates, possible character, possible plate. These two are classes, by the way, possible character and possible plate. And then we have preprocess and then FRM main. And then we also have classifications and images, and those are the two XML files that contain the character classifications and character images that we obtained from the training process in the third part of this video series. And then of course the README down here, which I'm going to update that when the video is done. So now that we've taken a quick overview of the repository contents, let's go ahead and implement the project. So we'll go ahead and fire up Visual Studio 2015, and then while we're waiting for that to start, we're going to choose Download Zip here and then Open. And that'll take a moment to open because of the 16 image files. Take a little bit of time to download. Then we close out of this screen here, close out of that screen, and then again we'll be working from this form design document here. So I'm going to slide this over to the other window, and then we're also going to be working from frmmain.vb, and we're going to add these components to our form. So I'm going to slide this over to the other window as well. And here's our download zip. And then we're going to open another file explorer, and we're going to go to Documents and then Visual Studio 2015 and Projects, and there isn't a project there yet. So let's see, actually let's open yet another copy of the GitHub repository, and then we're going to go to here, and then let's see, this here, and we might as well title the project the same as the repository name, so we can go ahead and move that over to the other screen, minimize it. So now if we go to File, New, and Project, and then we'll name the project that, take the space out of course, and choose our preferred location, and then uncheck those, and then we're going to choose Visual Basic and Windows Forms application, and that's all set. So we'll go ahead and choose OK. And now at this point we're going to follow these steps in the cheat sheet, and that was in the Windows 10 Visual Basic OpenCV installation guide I mentioned earlier, so please see that. If any of these steps are unclear, I explain them in more detail there. So we're going to right click on form, FRM, change that to FRM main.vb, and yes, we want to update all references when it asks us, and then we're going to save and run it. And there's one reference we'll find we have to update manually. Let's give it just a second here and run it again. There we go. And we're going to change this here to .frm main, and then save application designer and close that, and now our program should run for us with our updated form, and there we go. Okay, so now we can set our references next. So if we go to let's see, I'm working off the cheat sheet from that installation guide I had mentioned earlier. So if we go to project, add reference, and then browse, and we highlight all of these, and then unhighlight Visual Studio 10, 12, and 13 because we're using 15, so then add those. And then we're going to go to, and then choose OK, of course, and then we're going to go to project, add existing item, and then we're going to go to this PC, C, Emgu, Windows Universal 3, bin, and x86, and then we're going to change that to all files, highlight all 4 of those, and then we can minimize references and choose our 4 DLLs that we just included, and go to properties and change copied output directory to copy always, and save. And now the next step is well, we can right click on the form and choose view code to view our code. And now we're going to just rearrange that. I prefer to have the design view first, and so now we're going to go ahead and build our form. So again, to do that, we'll use this as sort of a graphical guide of the form that we're going to make, and we're simply going to copy and paste the component names out of here. So starting out, we'll start with the table layout panel. So if we bring up the toolbox and also the properties window so we can name them as we go. So if we go to containers and table layout panel, and we can put that there, and let's just resize it a little bit. We're going to fit it to the form eventually, of course, but just at design time we'll resize it so we have something to work with. So a table layout panel, and then we're going to go to button open file, which I'm copying and pasting out of the other screen. There we go. So we can minimize containers now, and then go to, let's see, common controls is what we're looking for. And the button, I believe, goes there. Yes, it does. We do need to add, let's see, so we need 3 columns across and 3 rows down. So we need to add both a row and a column. So if we click on the layout manager here, and table layout panel I should say, and then we go to edit rows and columns, and then we're going to add a column, and then we're going to add a row. And just temporarily at design time here, we'll set everything to 33%. So 33, 33, and percent 33. And then we're going to go to columns, and we'll make that 33, 33, and 33. And again, we're going to fix that later. This is just to make it easier to work with at design time. So we've got the button in there. So next, and did we name the button? We did not name the button, so let's go ahead and do that next. So that's going to be button open file, of course, and then we're going to name our label. Well, first we have to put the label on a form, of course, so there goes the label, and we're going to call that label chosen file, and then we're going to add our image box, and so that's going to be right there. And if you don't have these special Emgu controls, again, please see the installation tutorial video. I explain how to get these up here. And so we're going to name that image box original, but I did not copy and paste that correctly. Just a moment here, I missed the L. And there we go, and that time I accidentally included the comment character at the beginning of the line. There we go. Okay, I'm going to make sure that I got the name correct on the other two. Label chosen file, yep, that looks good. Button open file, okay. So then we're going to go to the text box, which we're going to put that in the leftmost middle row here, and then we're going to put the text box in the bottom left, and then we're going to choose column span to 3. And the image box, okay, that should have gone on the left. Sorry about that, so we can just move the image box over there. Okay, and then it should be a checkbox at the top right. So let's see, that's going to be here, checkbox. There we go. Okay, so we're going to choose checkbox show steps, copy that out as the name, and then we're going to change that as well. Okay, let's just make sure we have everything named so far. Table layout panel, button, label, checkbox, image box, and there's only 2 left. Text info, which goes at the bottom. So that's going to be a text box, which goes down there, and then text info. And then let's see, open file dialog is the last control. So we're going to go to dialogs and open file dialog, and then paste that in there. And we should have everything named now, so we're all set. So let's go ahead and set some properties. We can close out the toolbox. So let's choose these 3 across the top and make the font nice and big. We'll go with 12. And then let's, for the image box, we can choose column span, set that to 3, and then dock and fill. And then for the text box, we can set column span for that to be 3 as well, and then dock to be fill. And then we have some other properties to set for the text box, word wrap to false, and let's see, multi-line to true, and scroll bars to both. And then for the image box, we would like to set a border for that, so let's do border style fixed single, and I always like to change enabled to false to prevent accidentally zooming in and out on the image box. And then for the button, we can choose, let's see, we didn't set the font for the text box yet, did we? Okay, so text font size 12. And then we're going to choose Courier New. Where are you? There we go. Whoops, just passed it again. Courier New. And then for the button, we're going to choose, let's see here. Actually, for the button label and checkbox, let's choose Anchor to be left and right. And then for the button specifically, we're going to choose Auto Size True, and then Size Mode Grow and Shrink. And then we can go ahead and set the text here. So the button should say, where's text? There we go, OPENFILE. And then the label should say, should be blank actually. And then we should make that middle left. And then for the checkbox, we can make the text SHOWSTEPS. And there we go. So we're all set. And alright, what's next? So if we take the table layout panel and then we go to, actually first let's dock it. So if we go to dock and then fill, and now we go back to the table layout panel and then we choose edit rows and columns. And for the first row, let's make that auto size, and that's going to shrink that down. And then let's choose, let's see, for the rows, let's choose the image box row to be 70%. And then the text box to be 30% just to start, although we'll adjust that in code that we'll find when we check or uncheck the show steps checkbox. So let's see, just a few more properties to set here. Table layout panel. If we go back to edit rows and columns, and then as far as the columns, we would like to set the first and the last columns to auto size. And I believe that completes our form. We'll go ahead and fire the program up, just make sure we didn't miss anything. Everything should auto size for us nicely, and yep, okay, that looks pretty good. It'll maximize and everything. There we go, so our form's all set. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to our GitHub repository again, and then we're going to go to raw. And so for main, we're going to copy and paste in all the code that isn't there already. So if we go to here, and we can close out of these, and we'll just add a few spaces here at the beginning and the end. So then we're going to copy in the code at the top here, and then we can take out these extra spaces, and then we can copy in the member variables section, or module level variables to use the correct Visual Basic term. And then next is our event. So of course we never want to copy and paste in event names. We want the Visual Basic editor to do that for us. So if we double click on the title bar up here, that's going to start the form load event. And we can just adjust the spacing here a little bit, so we can put the comment line in here at the top. Whoops, there we go. Okay. And then we can copy in the body of that function. And there we go, and that simply calls show steps check change to adjust the proportion of the image box and the text box depending on if show steps is checked or not. And then also attempts the KNN training. We're going to copy and paste that in momentarily. We'll get to that in just a moment. But first we're going to double click on the show steps checkbox, and that's going to start that event for us. And then we're going to copy in the comment line for that as well. And then we're going to copy in the body of the function as well. And there we go. And then we're going to double click on the button, making sure that we've named it first, of course. Let's see, properties, and yep, button open file. Go ahead and double click on that. Okay, and then we're going to copy and paste in the body of the button click event. And whoops, okay, I just copied and pasted a little too much from the other window there. Bear with me for just a second. And there we go. Okay, so we're going to paste that in. And then we're going to grab this comment line from up here and paste that in right there. And we're getting red underlines, of course, because the other 5 files we haven't put in yet, but that's okay. We're going to remedy that shortly. And then we have 2 more functions here at the end, I believe. We have open image with error handling to place in right here. And then we have draw red rectangle around plate. Actually, I guess it was 3 more functions. And then we have finally write license plate characters on image. And then there we go. And now to resolve those red underlines, and of course to get all the rest of the files into the program, we're going to go to our download zip here. So we're going to grab detect characters, detect plates, possible character, possible plate, and pre-process. And we're going to copy those into here. And okay, not into there actually, into the project directory. Sorry about that. Okay, so now in the project directory we have those files there. And now we're going to go to project and then add existing item. And then we're going to go to this PC, documents, Visual Studio 2015, projects, the current project directory, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that we just copied over, and then add. And now all our red underlines should disappear. There we go. And I believe that's all the steps, and we can go ahead and run it. Okay, and I did forget one thing because we did not yet include the classifications XML file or the images XML file. So what we need to do there is we need to go to, this is the project directory that we're in again here, so OpenCV3 license plate recognition. This is the project we made earlier. This is the main project directory, but then we need to go into bin and then debug, and in this directory, because this is the same directory as the executables in, that's where we need to copy classifications and images into. Copy there we go, and now we should be all set. And there's our nice form, so we can go ahead and make it a little bigger, and then open file. And then actually there was one more property I did forget to set. There's a lot of properties you have to sort of individually remember here. It takes running the program usually through a few times before you catch them all. But if we, for the image box, if we choose size mode, if we set that to zoom, that will maintain the aspect ratio of the image, but it will size it to fit the open area of the image box here. And then let's also make the form a little bit bigger by default here. There we go. Some of these images are relatively large. So now if we go ahead and fire it up, we should be all set. So just go ahead and maximize it, choose open file. And we didn't actually download the images yet, so that's one more thing. So here's our download zip file. So if we go to license plate images, and you can save these wherever you'd like. I'm just going to put them right in the main project directory here. So we'll go ahead and copy here. And that's going to take just a moment to copy. And now we can go ahead and fire it up again. And maximize that and choose open file, and then we can go to Visual Studio 2015, projects, the project directory, and there's all our images. So let's just start with the first one, and there we go. So there's our good plate detection. The plate is written out in yellow underneath it. There's the plate in the text box at the bottom, and these windows are actually off the edge of the screen here. If that ever happens, by the way, these 2 windows they're off the screen to the right. To remedy that, you simply hold shift, right click on the image you're trying to move, then you choose move, and then you press the arrow key. So in this case I'm holding the left arrow key just to bring the image back onto the screen. That's real handy if that ever happens to you. So again, hold shift, right click, choose move, and then use whichever arrow key is going to get it back onto the screen, and there we go. So there's our license plate written on the image in yellow, there's our crop of the plate, and there's our thresholded image of the plate. So that worked out well. So let's go ahead and run it again with show steps, and you'll notice as soon as we show steps, this area is expanded so that we can see better the intermediate sort of steps in the plate being written out as we go. So we'll choose 1 here. So I'm trying to get all this on the screen at once as best as I can. Maybe if I move these up to the right a little bit, that'll obstruct the area at the bottom slightly less. And there we go. So contours that size, that's the full size of the contours. That's the 2,362 contours in the image. The 131 is the plates, and is the number of possible characters rather. And then we get down to 13 groups of characters that could be plates, and that's we can step through those here. So there's each of the 13 groups of characters that could possibly be plates. And now as we get into the second part of the program, we're going to take a look at each of those and find as many characters as we can in each of them. And then we're going to suppose the one with the most characters is the actual plate. And there we are. So there's the 13 plates, and the characters were found in each, and you'll notice that 7 characters in the actual plate ends up being the most, so that's what we take to be the plate image. So there we are. And we can do show steps with any of the images, of course. So for example, here's show steps with the second image, and this is this LOL Watt image. So let me bring all these back up here. And so we can step through all the possible plates and so on that one. And there are, I believe, even more possible plates in this image if I recall. Yep, 17, 18, 19 possible plates. So, but in any case, we end up with a good detect there, LOL Watt. So here's all the possible plates, and this is the one that of course ends up being the actual plate. And I don't think it's necessary to show the steps, but we can shoot through the rest of the images here. So there's RIP LS1, and there's NICES. The K is missed because our thresholding algorithm cuts it, but and then the remaining halves of the K are both too thin to be seen, but the other characters are detected well, so that's a respectable result. And let's see, we just did 4, so let's do 5, and then NVSBLE, that's a good detect. And let's do some of these other ones that we didn't look at in the other program. So EZEY, that's a pretty good detect. That's actually a very good detect. And then here we have, I believe, 1 character is missed, NITES. Yeah, the K is read as an I because, again, our thresholding algorithm cuts it slightly, but that's still a respectable read. And what was that, 14? So we're on to 15. So U8NTBAD, so that's a good read there. And then I believe we missed 1 character on this play here. So GAY247 is read as OAY247. A little disappointing because the G here is a really good threshold. Not sure, I guess our character recognition isn't perfect to be reading it G as an O, but in any case, as you can see, we get some pretty good results with this program for the most part. Not quite professional grade, but at least for something to start with and for something to understand the concepts involved, I think this is really very good. So hopefully everybody found this video series beneficial, and that this is going to be the concluding video in this series. And I'm not sure if I'm going to get to some microcontroller projects next or some more OpenCV videos. Maybe if somebody has some feelings one way or the other, please post in the comments, and I'll see everybody in the next one.